We just had the solo series finals in the EU, and T3eny ended up winning the whole tournament, establishing himself as one of the best solo players on the region. Let's get straight into what happened. It's been a really great weekend of Fortnite. It feels like ages since we've had a really good solo tournament. There's the expression, you wait for a bus and then two come along together, and that's what it kind of feels like. We hadn't had a good solo tournament for ages, and then all of a sudden we have two really exciting events all in the same weekend. On the whole, the solo series finals were great, other than one key issue, which I will get into later in this video. The tournament ended up being won by the best controller player in EU, T3eny. He came second place at the Eraser LAN, and he went one better yesterday, winning the whole solo series. Second and first really is remarkable consistency. T3eny has had a bit of an off year, the FNCSs haven't been great for him, but he really is ending 2025 in style. At this point it doesn't really need to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway. Him and Shark are the duo to watch out for next season. The way they're playing right now, I do think they will probably win an FNCS. I also want to give huge credit for T3eny for his mentality. The fact that he came second in the solo LAN in dubious circumstances, being first for a lot of it, and then obviously the epic bug that meant that the last two games couldn't get played, so he didn't have a chance to overtake Cammy and retake first place. The mentality to put that disappointment behind him and win an event 24 hours later is incredibly impressive. So credit to T3eny. Another player who I want to give huge credit to is Cammy, who ended up coming in second. He won the Eraser LAN 2 days ago, and he was only 5 points off winning this tournament. He did manage to win game 6, unfortunately it just wasn't enough. Cammy's quite a good litmus test for competitive Fortnite. If you think he's a good player, chances are you know what you're talking about. So his performances this weekend won't have come as a surprise to many. I actually didn't put him in my top 10 for the Eraser LAN, which was a diabolical decision. I really regret that. I readjusted for the solo series, putting him 5th, and of course he outperformed my expectations again with this second place. I really do hope that 2026 brings more solo tournaments so that we can see players like Cammy and T3eny build their legacies as all-time great solo players. I discussed this in a tweet the other day. Because of the lack of solo tournaments over the last few years, it feels like the players that are really good at solos haven't had the chance to get the credit they deserve as compared to their predecessors. In the eras of chapters 1 and 2, we had the solo World Cup, the solo invitationals, a solo FNCS, dream hacks every month. There were so many chances for players to prove that they were good at solos, and these simply don't exist anymore. Weekends of solo events like the ones we've just had are great steps in the right direction to give the current generation of top solo players the platform they deserve to prove how good they are. In third place we had Malibuka, a player that everyone knows is good at solos. If you remember from chapter 3, he really was primed up back then, and he's proved that he's still got it with a great third place performance. He couldn't go to the Eraser LAN, unfortunately. He did qualify for it, but he had some visa issues that meant that he couldn't go, but he did manage to play this tournament, and what a performance it was. He did start a little bit slow, but he came back with a bang towards the end, playing incredibly well in the last 2 games, managing 2nd and 4th places. It should be a big year for him in 2026. If he sticks with Vico, I think that duo has huge potential. In 4th place we had Hari. This was my prediction to win, and I have to say I feel a little bit gutted that this didn't come through, because really he did deserve the win. He got beamed out of the air by a cheater in game 1, more on that later, so he could only play 5 games. If you took the point average from that 5 games and added another one, he actually would have finished in 1st place. And obviously that's all speculation, but I think Hari will view this as a big missed opportunity, because this was his tournament to win. I just mentioned that there was a cheater on the lobby. If you didn't watch the tournament, for the first 3 games there was a cheater running around using the name of Moneymaker. We then actually had him get banned halfway through, and the real Moneymaker started playing for the last 3 games, which was quite confusing. It was just a bizarre event. How on earth we can have 6 weeks of qualifiers and the cheater still doesn't get banned before the finals is insane to me. The whole format of the tournament was basically designed to weed cheaters out, and yet somehow that didn't even work. It really does baffle me. As good as the 2 solo events have been this week, I am tired of there being issues surrounding them. On Saturday, the Epic Games matchmaking bug spoiled the last 2 games, meant that the LAN had to end early, and then yesterday we had a cheater running around killing players, ruining people's chances at earning money. It would just be nice to have a solo tournament that runs without any issues so that we can give full credit to whoever wins it. Back to the leaderboard, in 5th place we had Ping. I didn't actually end up putting him in my top 10 after he underperformed in the solo LAN, managing only a 67th place finish, but he played much better yesterday. 5th place was pretty good. He was actually 1st after 4 games, but then he died off spawn in game 5 when Moneymaker dropped at his POI. Shout out to Moneymaker before I go any further. He only played 3 games of the tournament, but he managed 111 points. If he played all 6 games based on that point average, he would have came 3rd. Fair play to him. In 6th place we had Shark, someone who was looking like a favourite to win the tournament going into the last game. Obviously he split Supernova Academy with T3eny, so they both had a pretty favourable drop spot situation. Unfortunately in game 6 there were a lot of other players that came into the POI. Shark just about managed to avoid getting killed by Velry and Flixie when they came into his POI to hunt him down. Unfortunately that did leave him a bit scuffed and he died in 48th place. He played well, 6th place is a good finish, but at one point it did feel like he was going to place a lot higher. In 7th place we had Fredoxy. He was very consistent throughout the tournament, landing in the mid map. He died in mid game fights in game 4 and 5. If it wasn't for that he probably would have finished a lot higher up. In 8th place we had T3eny, another candidate to win the tournament going into the final game. Unfortunately he died to Sky in game 6 who was lurking in the bush, so take that as a reminder to always check bushes because you never know when there's someone hiding in there. In 9th place we had T3eny. He was brilliant throughout the opens rounds, coming 2nd. I didn't put him in my top 10 because he was contested for this tournament, but that didn't end up mattering too much. He managed to win off spawn most games to finish in 9th place. Pretty impressive from him. And then rounding out the top 10 we had Marius, someone who I didn't necessarily predict too high because since globals his placements haven't been that good. However he proved me wrong. 10th place, a pretty good finish. It did look like it was going to be a lot higher at one point. He played excellently in the first few games, managing a 4th and a 1st. The last 4 games he struggled a little bit and that's why he ended up finishing in 10th. I do just quickly want to give a quick shout out to the player who finished 11th, which was Darkos, an underrated French player. He got W keyed in the final game by Lixium, who was in 97th place, so unfortunate for him, otherwise he probably would have made it into the top 10. We did have some underperformances. Karama, who won the opens round, only managing 32nd place in grand finals. I think he'll probably be disappointed with that. We also had Chap finishing in 67th. He struggled in the Eraser Land 2, not a great weekend for him. We had Swizzy finishing 70th and Focus in 94th. Now let's take a look at the Assyrion stats. We had Ping finishing with the most eliminations, a total of 17, Shark in 2nd with 16, and T3eny in 3rd with 15. In terms of player damage, the top 3 went Hari, then iDrop, and then T3eny again. Now, just like I did in yesterday's video, I want to take a look at my predictions for this tournament and see how accurate they were. So as you can see, I predicted Hari to finish 1st and he ended up coming 4th. I've already explained the reasons why I feel like this was quite unlucky because I do think this was a pretty solid prediction. I didn't see many people putting Hari even in their top 5s, let alone to win the tournament. I had Shark to come 2nd, he came 6th. Then I put Vico in 3rd, he came 29th, a bit of an underperformance from him. He made some tweets about how he didn't really enjoy the meta or the new Storm Surge. I predicted T3eny to come 4th and he ended up winning, so the 2nd time in 2 days that I've underrated T3eny. Then I put Cammy in 5th and he ended up coming in 2nd. Flixie in 6th, he finished 25th, a bit of an underperformance from him. And then the rest of these are kind of misses. I had Pixie to finish 7th, he came 16th. Demus to finish 8th, he came 50th. Didn't expect him to struggle this much. He had Pumped Power and the Lake to the west of it uncontested. I did think he'd do a lot better because he's known as a good solo player, but it obviously wasn't his day. I put Malibuka to finish 9th, he overperformed that, coming in 3rd. And then I put Chino in 10th, he also had a rough day, coming in 41st. Shout out to Chino, by the way, it was confirmed that he joined Havoc yesterday, so congratulations to him for that. Not my best set of predictions, but also not my worst. I don't think I was too far off. Let's talk about the NA Central Finals now, and more specifically which EU pros performed on there. We ended up having 6 EU pros qualify. Unfortunately, none of them could do that well. I was hoping someone would at least manage a top 25. That didn't quite happen. The highest placing EU pro was Paseve. I do hope I'm saying that name right. He's a Spanish pro and he managed 38th place. We then had Karama manage 57th, Murfind managed 71st, Cade managed 73rd, and then we had Panzer in 97th, he only ended up playing 1 game, and Lixium in 100th, he only played 2 games. Not the best showing, but fair play to all those players for qualifying on 120 plus ping over 6 weeks. That's a huge achievement and they've all made money for it. Comment below what you thought about the solo series, which players did you have down to do well, who surprised you, who disappointed you a little bit. Let me know what you guys thought. Thank you very much for watching the video, see you in the next one.